Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you've been told so far, this is the 7th Digital Africa Conference. We've had the various themes. As you were told earlier, we had a theme on networking of Africa. We had a theme on the Fourth Industrial Revolution. We had a theme on Internet of Things, and so on and so forth. Now, it gives me pleasure that during the Digital Africa of 2019, in which we looked at the issue of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, after the event, we did a communique, and from the communique, we produced some action points. And one of those action points was that every country in Africa should have a ministry of Fourth Industrial Revolution and or a center for doing work in the area of Fourth Industrial Revolution. Now, it gives me great pleasure because a country in Africa, it appears, took heed to what we advise, and that country is South Africa. South Africa, as we speak, has a ministry for Fourth Industrial Revolution. To me, this is remarkable. It's remarkable because it means they are also looking ahead at where things are going. And to me, I can see also that some other countries are beginning to also realize that the world has changed. Things are moving to a new direction. And as a result of that, we need to also begin to do things differently. Although not a country from Africa, UAE also has a ministry of artificial intelligence. A ministry of artificial intelligence. What does that show you? It also shows that they are also realizing that equation has changed, that things are now going to be different. A lot of people are telling us that artificial intelligence is the new electricity. Now, think for a minute. Without electricity, a lot of things in the world we are living in cannot, function. You need electricity to drive almost everything we do today. So for you to be told that artificial intelligence is the new electricity, that speaks volume. That means that every country needs to take that very seriously. And there are some countries that have begun to take these things very seriously. UAE has a ministry of artificial intelligence. But not only that, they also have a ministry of possibilities. Can you beat that? A ministry of possibilities. In other words, all the things that are now possible, that we can now begin to realize that these things can probably have an impact tomorrow. They have a ministry that look at all those things, test them, verify whether they are going to be useful to them, and when they find that they are going to be very useful to them, they shift them to the ministries that are really responsible for those areas. To me, that also shows a country that is looking ahead to where things are going. Yes, as you've been told, we are now living in a world that are driven by certain exponential technologies. Each of these exponential technologies is capable of disrupting society as we know it, in terms of how we live, in terms of how we socialize, in terms of how we learn, in terms of how we go to make use of medical doctors, how we take care of our health, in terms of how we do agriculture, in terms of how we do almost everything you can think of. Each of one of those technologies is capable of disrupting every of those areas. And yet, there are more than 36 of these technologies. You know most of them. Artificial intelligence, drones technology, virtual reality, augmented reality, driverless, cars, cloud computing, machine learning, deep learning. There are a lot of these technologies. Question is, they are very key, but here in Africa, what are we doing to make sure that we are positioning ourselves right so that we are also going to be part, of all this? We've been told, as you found out earlier, there has been a first industrial revolution that practically passed Africa by, driven by things like steam engine. A second industrial revolution also that passed us by, driven mainly by things like electricity. A third industrial revolution also largely that has passed us by, which was driven by computers, by internet. But the next industrial revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, is now being driven not by Internet 1.0, but Internet 2.0, Web 2.0, and even spatial web. I don't know whether some of you have heard of what is called spatial web. I'm not, this is spelled S-P-A-T-I-A-L, spatial, web. This is a type of web which when you put on your virtual reality goggle or augmented reality goggle, you are now going to see the world the way it really is. Because we are living in a three-dimensional world, but when we look at the screens of today, most of what you see is not in 3D, it's in 2D. But now with these goggles, you are now going to see everything in 3 dimensions. And not only that, with augmented reality, as you are also looking at everything, it's also providing you real-time information on what you are looking at. So the engine of this fourth industrial revolution is now grinding. And the train is moving faster and faster. And doesn't it amaze you that things really are changing, and drastically so, when you hear that Facebook has started a new cryptocurrency, Libra. This just happened in terms of the announcement to the world only last week. Libra is going to be a game changer. It's going to really revolutionize payment systems. And we are really aware and taking note of that here in Africa. There are so many other game changers, things that are happening in different other sectors, in medicine, in agriculture. In agriculture today, there is this big, robo-agriculture that practically, it's called DOT, that practically is huge. You can use it to farm hectares upon hectares of land. It does practically almost everything, by itself. Now, when you hear of things, like that, you realize that things are really, really, changing. And if that is the case, here in Africa, we ought to also be very aware of all those things. This is what we are trying to do here. We are not giving you the day-to-day topics in ICT. That's not what we are doing, here. We stretch the minds of people in Africa so that we realize that things have changed. So that we realize that we too have to stretch it, strengthen our minds to be part of what is happening. That's what we are doing. And that's the reason why if you look at the teams, our teams are not the ordinary teams you see in most ICT events. They are teams that stretch the minds of people so that we realize that things are changing, so that we realize that we really have to be part of the world. The world is moving so fast. This is the year 2019. By 1919, which is 100 years ago, to me, two very important things happened during that period. It was the period in which the World War I ended, 1919. It was also when the Spanish flu also finally, ended. Those were the only two remarkable things that happened in 1919. Okay, during that period, there was also, some few other inventions. But we are now told that even within 1 hour, there are more inventions happening in the world right now, 1 hour, than was the case in 1919 for the whole of 1919. So we are racing very, very fast. A lot of things, are really happening in the world we are living in, which also means that we too have to take, things, very seriously, because a lot of, these things mean that here in Africa, we shouldn't just be caught napping again. We should be part of what is happening. Some countries, some parts of the world are taking these things seriously. China is investing so heavily in R&D, and as a result of that, look at where it's taking China. Look at where it's taking China, to the point now that a lot of people believe there's now more innovations that are coming out of China than probably other parts of the world. Some people now are even believing that China is now not only going to be a member of the developed countries, but will become even more developed than most of the developed countries that you see today. And all thanks to the attention they are paying to technology. Ladies and gentlemen, this also shows that we too have to take these things very seriously. Now, Bosu told you earlier about the concept of singularity. And as we approach, the singularity, change is accelerating. It is accelerating so fast to the point that every aspect of how we live our lives will change. Every industry will transform. Exponential changes will help us to digitize. Everything will be digitized. Everything will be dematerialized. Everything will be demonetized. And everything will be democratized. Everything. So that's the world we are entering, ladies and gentlemen. And Bosu also showed you some of the things we are doing as Digital Africa to make sure that we are also doing our own bit as an organization to assist. Apart from this Digital Africa conference and exhibition we are holding every year, there are also other things we are doing. For example, he talked about DEMIS. DEMIS is a platform we are building that is going to be the information source for the whole of Africa on matters to do with information technology. We believe that this is important. We've also come up with what we are calling a digital maturity index or model for the whole of Africa. This model will be such that we can use it to look at organizations to determine where they fall with regards to digital maturity, and also to look at states and countries within Africa to determine where they fall. What that means that sooner or later you will see that we are going to be ranking all the states within Nigeria to determine where they fall within the context of or the continuum of digital maturity. There are so many other things we are involved in. We are trying to incubate also a lot of young entrepreneurs. There are so many young entrepreneurs here coming up in our part of the world. A lot of them, they have ideas, very excellent ideas. They've even come up with some inventions, but they don't know what to do with what they've invented because they don't have much idea with regard to entrepreneurship. We've also come up with methods of how to incubate them and how to, at the end of the day, make sure that what they've come up with are going to bear fruits. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we are here, mainly as a result of the fact that we are concentrating on the theme of abundance. You've been told much about what abundance, means. These exponential technologies we are talking about are going to create a new age of abundance. But the irony is that despite the fact that in other parts of the world, every new decade, you find out that more and more are being created in terms of abundance. More and more are being created in terms of abundance. We are now even told that in terms of poverty, 49,000 people are removed from the extreme poverty, list in the world every day. But the irony is that in Africa, it goes the other way around. And this should not be the case. We are here to also tax our heads as to make sure that things like this are no longer going to be the case, and that at the end of the day, we are going to become like other parts of the world and also be creating abundance here in Africa. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why we're here. I'd like to use this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to thank our exhibitors, to thank our sponsors, to thank all those that are going to help us to make this event to be the event we envisage it to be. And please, ladies and gentlemen, you are here not just to only sit down and listen. Participate. Ask questions. Make contributions. And not just only that, ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity for you to also make friendship. This is an opportunity for you to start new engagements that are going to lead to new projects, new businesses. This is the opportunity. There should be a lot of interactions between you all, ladies and gentlemen. Don't stand there while others are talking. Join, go talk to other people. If you see two people, let me give you the technique. If you see two people talking, they are probably talking about something important. Don't disturb them. If they finish talking and you want to engage one of them, perhaps you can do so. But if you see three people or more that are in a group talking, you can be close, to them. Listen to what they are saying. If there's a room for you to, also join the conversation, please, do so. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are here. Please participate, have fun, and I thank you all, very much. Take care. Bye-bye.